Hey, what's going on, Players Lounge? Aaron Murray here. And last week I got an opportunity to sit down with my boy TK, talk a little bit about the receiving position, some camp stories as well. So I had to go with his roommate, the first center I had at the University of Georgia, joining me today, Ben freaking Jones, sporting his Georgia gear. What's up, Big Ben?
What's up, brother? Just taking it easy, man.
Taking it easy. Ben, right now, free agent. Any calls? What's the deal, man? You just enjoying life post football? It's got to feel
Yeah,
weird. You got to feel weird.
it is. Still rehabbing. I had shoulder and elbow surgery into February. Still haven't got cleared from that. So that's when teams call, I'm like, hey, I'm still trying to get healthy. I'll let you know when I'm 100% healthy, and we'll go from there.
When's the last time you missed football in August?
19 years ago,
Jeez. When did you start playing?
high school's. I played 11 years in the NFL, 4 in college, 4 in high school.
Yeah, but did you not play like Pop Warner before that?
No.
What?
Well, I worked on the farm.
So your first time playing football was freshman year of high school, like legitimate
No,
organized football.
I played junior high. We're up 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah. Okay.
I had brain surgery in that time too.
That does tell me a lot
10-year-old brain
about Ben
surgery
Johnson.
kind of knocked out football for a little bit.
Just a little bit, just a little bit. First time though, but that's feel good though. You get to spend some time with the wife, the kids. You guys are building a house here in Georgia. What is the final resting stop for you? Kind of, I know you've been in Nashville for a while. You love Nashville, a great city, but is there any ties to bring you back to Georgia, even though you're grew up there in Alabama?
Not at, I don't know. We're still in Nashville, trying to figure out what's next. We really do love Nashville a lot, but we have family in Georgia. We have family in Alabama. We love going to the beach, so we don't know what's next. Our
No.
kids start school next week, so getting them back into the groove. So we're excited for that. It's a long off season when you got 3 kiddos at the house.
Now you can't escape the camp, which now seems like a retreat compared to taking kids to school back and forth. All right, so Ben was up at Georgia, was at UGA, got a chance to see practice. We're not going to kind of get into specifics because Kirby likes to keep what happens in practice at practice, so we're not going to ask Ben any of the super juicy details. But I do want to go. You're walking around. Obviously, you've probably signed some meetings with Searels. What's the difference between the offensive staff feeling now compared to when you and I played? Because the staff is almost identical, from BMAC there to Hartley there, and obviously Bobo and Searles. Did it feel like 2010 all over again, just in a bigger, better facility?
Yeah, the facilities are unreal. Just starting with there from the indoor to the locker room to the having their own cafeteria right there. Unreal. But it is. It's weird seeing all those guys back. But it's a different atmosphere there because Kirby's leading the charge, and he is hands on as you can get.
Yeah.
Everything runs through him. He runs the practice. You can hear him all from wherever you're at on any field. You can hear him with that microphone. So he is in full charge, and what everything is going through. He knows exactly what's going on any field, any drill. It looks like organized chaos where so many drills are going on at once, and he knows exactly where everybody is and what everybody's supposed to be doing.
Have you ever had a coach like that in the NFL or
Very
even
similar to
before?
Vrabel. Um,
Okay.
so everything runs through Vrabel, how they run meetings, how everything's so detailed, how the game situations to how everything. Hey, well, this drill is going to carry on over to this. This is why we're doing this drill so we can be better in this situation. Everything has a purpose. You're not just going out there to do a drill to be doing a drill.
So we hear guys like when we talk about Saban or even Kirby of practicing college is so much harder than practicing the NFL. And obviously that depends on what NFL team you are a part of.
Yeah.
Would you say Vrabel and Tennessee kind of ran similar hard nosed, grinded out practice, or is there an intensity difference between the two? I know you talk about like the format of the way that drills are prepared is the same, but overall intensity, is it identical or is it ramped up a little bit more at Georgia?
Coming from Tennessee, I had Vrabel, but it was our offensive line coach who our individual was absolutely awful. Like you're over there forever. Like Vrabel's, you get so much out of working your craft with him. He wants you don't do as much team as they do at Georgia. We have a lot of individual where you work your craft. It's controlled, so you're working your scheme. You're working it one on one with the D lineman, so he can all right. You can really work your craft. Where most team in the NFL, it's a crap loaded team. You're not really working on your craft.
Yep.
And so he said, if you're going to be a better player and a better coach, you got to get it an individual, which it is awful. I'll celebrate when we go to team reps.
Yeah, but Georgia doesn't. I would say the difference is you have so many more bodies in college where you could do
100%.
a lot of everything.
Yeah, from camp, when you go from camp in the NFL to the season, you used to having 15 guys in camp. Then it's cut down to 7 or 8 active, 2 or 3 practice squads. So you have 10. So you're having to you have to hold the dummy in practice. You have to take the extra reps. You only got 2 guys going in pass rush. And you look in Georgia, they have 15 to 20 guys always there. They have a full 3 lines and a couple of extras on everything.
All right, so like we said, we're not going to go like super detailed into the practice just because we want to keep that, to Kirby and the boys heading into the camp. But just looking at the offensive line in general, and I'll just go with the size. We were big my freshman, sophomore year. So we had you, Cordy, Bean, good old Bean. Who else did we have? We were pretty damn big at offensive line.
Dallas was big. Dallas,
Clint was big. But I feel like now it's a whole nother level. Like when you walk into those meeting rooms, are you shocked? I know you've been in NFL rooms, but are you shocked with how big the college guys are, especially at Georgia, at the offensive line position?
Yeah, like I have a great relationship with their center Said, so I talk to him all the time, and I'm thinking he's just same size as me because I'm looking. He's beside Tate Rutledge, then it's by Mims, and you turn around. I'm like, all right, but I walked in there. I'm like, oh, y'all are a whole different size. You're standing by 6'6" and 6'7", Rutledge and Mims. I'm like, those are huge individuals, and you're looking at their recruiting class who they have coming in. Next year, they're averaging like 6'7", 330, and they are massive human beings.
Is it too big though? Like, I listen. I love big guys. I still think the game is still won and lost at the line of scrimmage. Like, if you can dominate up front, you're going to win a lot of football games. And obviously, Kirby's put a huge emphasis on the line of scrimmage play with O line, D line. But is there a point where it hurts you to be 6'6", 6'7", playing offensive line?
I don't think so. I think they see the intangibles. Like, I can't get 6'6". I can't be a 6'6" guy. But so if you can take those guys, 1 or 2 of those guys are gonna be great players. Not every one of them are home runs, but if you can get 2 or 3 of those guys who are 6'6", 330 pounds, 340 pounds to put in the work in the offseason in the program, you have more upside than you look at a 6'2", 6'3" guy. That comes in. So that's what they're looking at. Hey, we have this program. We trust our strength staff. We have a certain style that we run. We get the ball out of our hands. We have big guys who move guys up front. And you look at their O-line, D-line, they're usually the biggest ones out there.
Yeah.
So they're building a size. It reminds me of the old school Alabama. They used to have some huge O-lines and huge D-lines back when we were in college.
Yeah, I always remember like Alabama had big O-line, D-line. I always felt like Tennessee recruited big offensive linemen. Like, I always saw like, man, those guys are like at least 6'5" across the board.
Just me and David Andrews wouldn't fit in with this group.
No, God, no. I mean, I think like my senior year, Chris Burnett, Dallas Lee, both 6'2".
Yeah, 6'2",
David was what, 6'1", maybe 6'2". Tackles were probably 6'4".
Colton was maybe 6'3". Yeah.
Colton was maybe. We were not. Canarius was right around that 6'3", 6'4" mark. So we were not big at offensive line at all. It's just it's amazing to see just the transformation. Without going too deep into the X's and O's, have you felt like the way Searels taught the game to you guys back then has changed at all? Like, have you seen him mature schematically and as a position coach, over the past decade as he's been to a couple other places?
Yeah, you can see how hands-on. the offensive line, they're really intelligent. All five of them they have out there, they're able to make any of them can make calls.
Yep.
They have a lot of responsibility, which was cool to see. Just their knowledge of the game. They're starting five, and a lot of them has played a lot of ball, and I'm excited to see them play. But yeah,
Yep.
you can tell that he knows what he's doing. He trusts the guys that he has in that room, and the more he can give them, the better because they're out there. They have a lot of checks. They have a lot of they're seeing the best defense in the league. The
Yeah.
amount of stuff they're bringing on third downs to normal down. You've seen a lot of defense as an offensive line. So when they're playing a normal game, it's usually a lot simpler for them. So they're getting everything right now in camp.
They're literally getting the best defense every day at camp that they're going to get until they face LSU or Alabama in the SEC championship game.
No
I mean,
doubt.
that's just plain simple. So it's incredible. How many hat throws? How many hat throws? Is it has it decreased, increased, or about the same over the since you left in 2011?
He must have shoulder problems. I didn't see it come off at all. Or he was being nice since I was there.
Oh,
But I give him a hard time. He's getting soft on these guys. But he's definitely got the fire in him. He gets after them the same. Indy's still awful. They're still doing T-boards down there in the corner. People are throwing up like normal. So he didn't lose that in him.
did it look good seeing Bobo back calling plays? Like, did it feel right? And he's in his spot. And could you sense confidence with him being back out there?
Absolutely. You know how he is. He has that demeanor. You know he's poised. He's in his role. You can tell he's in his element. He demands excellence from all the guys around him. You can tell anybody can get it. Any coach he's holding everybody to a high standard. He's not just holding the quarterbacks to that. He spins around. He knows what everybody's supposed to do at all times. He's hollering mid play, "Hey, why is this receiver's motion's not right?" He's on them. He's on the O line. Why this guy on this play? So he knows exactly what's going on, what scenario, and he looks back in his prime condition.
So it drives me crazy because it may be. I mean, every coordinator does this. It's a third and long situation. Instead of forcing the ball down the field, you throw a screen pass. You do a draw. You play the field position game. I think that's what people don't always understand. Like, there's a game inside the game. Like, yes, we want to get a first down. Yes, we want to score touchdowns. But if we can get 5 or 7 yards in a 3rd and 18 situation and be able to pin a team back inside the 20, let's do that. If we know they're going to drop
Right.
eights, like, there's the game of field position that then our defense gets a 3 and out. We get better field position ourselves. You have to play that. Well, Bobo does that enough. He starts getting called third and Bobo, and he's going to call a run play. He's going to call a draw. He's going to call a screen, whatever it is. When I would get in the huddle or Joe get in the huddle or any team, maybe in the NFL, and it's a 3rd and long situation, say 12 plus,
Yeah.
and a draw gets called, a screen gets called, what goes through your mind as offense coordinator to defend him or not? Just what goes through your mind?
I'm thinking, hallelujah. I ain't got to block those D linemen who are pinning their ears back to
You're on
give
mute,
those
Ben.
receivers time. But because that's the thing, you're trying to tell an offensive line, hey, they got to hold up versus a talented defensive front, and they know, hey, it's going to be cover 2 man. They're playing some kind of soft zone, so it's taking a lot of time. They're jamming the receivers at the line. They're letting their dogs eat. So do you want
Yep.
it to be 4th and 30, fourth with a holding penalty, or 4th and 20 with a sack, and you taking a
Mm-hmm.
shot on your quarterback? Or, hey, let's see if one will pop. If we catch them in man coverage on the screen, all you got to do is block one guy in man coverage. And
Yep.
seeing some of those plays hit. Look, I can remember a play crystal clear my rookie year in the league. We're playing Jacksonville. It's 3rd and long. We throw a tunnel screen out there and we take it to the house in overtime and win because we catch them in that situation. And we knew it only took one guy to beat, and we won the game that way.
Yeah. I just once again, I think there's unrealistic expectations sometimes of certain situational football playing to set yourself up. It's the chess for your next move. Not always that one, but the next move
If you've
is
got
going
a
to be.
good defense, let them eat.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you pin them inside the 10, you're getting at least it's 3 points guaranteed for that defense. They're going to go out there and stop them. You're going to get the ball on the plus 50, and
Yep.
you're going to get at least 3 points every time.
Looking at the defense real quick, once again, don't need any crazy specifics here, but I look at what they returned from last year. and seeing what they have, the way they've recruited, where would you kind of rank them for defenses maybe you and I saw at Georgia? Because we had some good ones. You weren't there in the 2012 where we had some stat guys, but we had some really good, talented Husto and et cetera, shot at the defensive line position. How much has the defense schematically changed? Because I feel like when you and I were playing, most of it was 4 down. We didn't really face a lot of odd fronts.
Right.
We'd face a lot of 4 down fronts, cover 2, cover 3, quarters, man. Your basic blitzes, Mike Sam, maybe a little nickel pressure, a corner cat. Like nothing was what we'd kind of deem exotic.
Yeah.
Now you look at these defenses and they look more like an NFL defense. They more look like what Vrabel runs at Tennessee.
Yeah.
How much has that changed watching college football or even practice last week of, man, like this game is a lot faster and more difficult than when I played?
Yeah, I think that just the team speed over there, it looks like an NFL roster. From the way the linebackers, the DNs, it's just they're chasing down everything. They look the part. They play hard, and that's part of defense. If you have 11 guys playing that style, it looks like 13 guys out there playing. Nobody's open. They're running sideline to sideline, and they have depth, so everybody looks fresh at all times. And when you're looking at the type of defense, I see why it gives guys in college a heart, because it's so much defense. It's so much you can give a college guy because they still got to go to class.
Yeah.
And like in pros, I'm there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day.
Mm.
And those guys get a short window of an hour or two of meetings where I'm meeting 8 hours a day. And they're getting that style of defense and that much trying to protect. Like, I don't know how they go to about third downs and stuff like that in college where you're seeing that much defense on the from Georgia.
Yeah, I'm more shocked than anything because you allude to the rules that they're able to handle that much on defense.
Right.
Because I always assume offensive guys a little bit smarter than defensive guys, but that a defense is able to execute the various fronts and coverages and personnel groups and do it at such a high level. Whatever this is what separates Kirby and his staff from other staffs. Like not every staff can teach it in a way, the fundamentals on top of being able to execute certain plays and checks. And I get where you talk about like offenses are having to deal with a lot on their side, but also offenses have evolved too. And I think Bobo has evolved as well. It's not only just line up and 21 personnel and find a one-on-one matchup with AJ and throw it down the field. Like there's motions and shifts and different personnel groups you're going in and out. So I am more amazed now than ever with the time restrictions that both sides of the football are able to implement so much on the field.
No, I think that it tells how good of coaches they have there. What they're able to get in their meetings, what they're able to, they're explaining it well. They're showing it in their walkthroughs. Like when they're walkthrough in camps, they're getting so much out of those walkthroughs, the communication, the situations. It looks very similar to what we do in the mornings in an NFL walkthrough before we have a practice in the evening. So that's when they're getting all that defense put in. So it's just a cleanup, I bet, during the season.
Yeah, it's incredible. All right, a couple more before we let you go. Obviously, pressure to three-peat would be the first time in the AP era that's happened. It happened back in the 30s with Minnesota. Did you feel any tension from players or coaches or think that there's any kind of that, or it's just we're playing ball?
They're playing ball, and that's what Kirby, he is. He's on them so hard about focusing on the little details and keeping them, in the presence, like, if they're slacking at all, he is laying into them. And that's what I loved about it. It's one day at a time. He's not letting them skip a game because they had a scrimmage coming up the next day, and he was laying into them that day because, that's tomorrow. We got to get better today. It's hot out here. Let's focus on the day. And he got his point across.
All right, your favorite camp story. Because camp must suck for the big boys. I told TK this last week. Like, camp for me was easy. I didn't get hit. I got to chill, throw a football. You guys every day in the Georgia Heat are just banging the crap out of each other. What was camp like for you? And then give me your top story.
I used to hate when they would send us down to the turf fields and y'all would be doing 7-on-7 on the grass. I'm like, why can't we go up on the grass? Our feet are burning. We're down there in that corner where there's no wind, and you're going against Geno Atkins, Justin Houston, Jarvis Jones, all those guys. You're like, come on. even though it's already we're playing one-on-one pass rush down there. I'm like, can we just at least get some air? It's so hot. And then you go to the NFL, you're like, oh, NFL is easier. You have joint practices like 2 or 3 a camp, and you have you might as well say it's a game for an offensive lineman. You're doing one-on-ones, you're doing one-on-one run blocking, then you have a million plays a team, 3 straight days, then you play them. I'm like, well, they just figured everything out, all my calls, and I got to go block them in a game. This ain't fair. Like everybody else is like, oh, I'm doing some 7-on-7, the quarterbacks can't get hit. I'm like, I'm dying. This is awful.
I think that's the hardest part too. Is because I had a buddy of mine that was at practice said, "Man, I think the defense won today." I'm we're 10, 11 days in the camp. Like the defense knows the calls. Like Bobo is implementing certain things, but like they know. And yes, as a quarterback and offensive line, like what the defense is doing, the checks and can anticipate too. But I still say like at the end of the day, advantage defense 100%. If they know the calls over me on offense, knowing what you're doing.
Absolutely. They know everything. They know when it's a run, pass. I'm over there trying to give dummy calls, and they're looking at me like, you can't run that out of that formation. I'm like, I know. No. Trust me.
No. Oh, yeah.
They're not that dumb.
Defense. Well, Ben, man, I appreciate it. Would love to obviously keep us posted with how it goes with the NFL, regardless one way or the other. Got to get you on more this season, give your expert opinion on the offensive line once games do get going once again.
Sounds good, bud. Good seeing you, Murray.